All right, thank you, Heather. Thank you for that coverage. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and pick it up here. You can see this is the particular thunderstorm that's in San Joaquin County that prompted the tornado warning, which looks like now has been allowed to expire, but it's still a very active situation. While we're seeing the hail decrease, this is something that's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this into the last frame here, what it's like right now. You can see that this area of purple, I'm going to get rid of the lightning as well. That's where the hail is. That's the radar indicating a spot of hail that's on there. That actually increased in size to where it was indicating almost an inch size in diameter of hail. It has since shrunk quite a bit. And as I look at this and get a little bit closer, let's zoom in, you'll be able to see that the hail, take off the shear, shows that, again, we're down to about 1/3 of an inch in size as far as the hail is concerned. So that's still some decent sized hail. Less likely, though, that that's going to cause any damage. But the other thing that I wanted to show you was the shear. Shear is an indication of some possible rotation within the thunderstorm. And that was something that the Weather Service, I'm sure, was very concerned about. And this area of darker blue is an area where we did not have shear, but now is starting to see some shear. And when we're talking about thunderstorms, you look at the direction that they go, and it's usually on the back side of the thunderstorm is where you get that rotation that can create a tornado. And so you can see that area of shear now just moved a little bit farther to the north. Every sweep that this goes around, we get it goes through different layers of the atmosphere. So to complete a full cycle, every about 5 minutes or so, we get an update with the radar showing us what the current conditions are in that area. So we're seeing that shear move a little bit farther to the north, but it's in the back side, the back quadrant of this thunderstorm. And so that's an area that I would be most concerned for, possibly maybe funnel clouds or even another tornado warning that might be issued. So far, the Weather Service has let the other tornado warning or the tornado warning expire, but we still have severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, let's go ahead and click on that. And this one associated with this particular cell is now it's going to be expiring at 3:15. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning. This is in effect until 3:15 for east central San Joaquin County and north central Stanislaus County. We're seeing these areas. We could have some large hail associated with this, and it could do some damage. But again, as far as the radar is indicating right now, it looks like the hail is on the decrease, and there's still just some very heavy rain associated with this. So I'm going to go ahead again. This is where we're mostly concerned. This is where we're seeing some of the heaviest precipitation right now from Highway 120 north along Highway 4 near Farmington, the community that's getting some of that heavier rain, and this is heading north towards Highway 26, and the Linden area could see some of this heavier rain associated with this particular cell. But this isn't the only one. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that is in Stanislaus County near the community of Hickman here in Waterford. You can see as I zoom in along Highway 132, and this has prompted a severe thunderstorm warning, and this is going to be up until 3:15. And so we have that, and this is indicating also possibly quarter-size-inch hail put on the hail. And let's see what is indicating. Radar is indicating here, and I can go ahead and query that. And you'll see that we have shear. Yeah, there's some shear associated with it, but we also have the hail that currently is showing up. That's about 1/3 of size, 1/3 of an inch size. So there's some hail associated with this particular thunderstorm. Again, all these thunderstorms are moving from the south to the north. I'm going to go ahead and back out, and you can just see the direction that these are traveling. And there's one more particular thunderstorm that I want to highlight here, but I'm going to go ahead and put this into motion so you can see where we have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, again in portions of northern Stanislaus County, and then on the eastern side there of San Joaquin County, and then also in through the eastern portions of the midsection there of Stanislaus County to the east of Modesto. But there's one more that seems to be really developing quite well, and it's this one here. And this is moving out of Contra Costa County and into Solano County and southern Sacramento County. This is near Rio Vista, Bethel Island, Rio Vista. And this is getting a little, looks like it's increasing in intensity. While the other ones seem to be kind of decreasing in intensity, this one seems to be increasing. You can see that area of purple, that's some hail, but also has some very heavy rain just right over the Bethel Island area heading towards Highway 12. And it looks like it's going to be coming pretty close to the Rio Vista area where we're also seeing some more little cells bubbling up. With this, I'm going to put the lightning back on. Sometimes that gets in the way, makes it hard to see what's going on beneath. But yeah, you can see there's numerous lightning strikes associated with this particular cell that's near Bethel Island right now. I'm going to take that back off again and zoom out to the area where we're seeing severe thunderstorm warnings. And this is just a spot that we were anticipating the chance for this today. All the computer models were indicating that this was going to be an area where we could see a lot of activity. And this is going to continue over the next couple of hours. It's not going to be these particular cells because these are going to die down, but this is an area of energy. And so while the one particular cell dies down, we could see another one popping back up again. So this is just an overall area that we're going to be very concerned with and watching as this develops over the next several hours, because we still have a lot of warm air out there. The sun's still out there, even though it's not breaking through some of that cloud cover. It's still providing the energy that will help these thunderstorms to continue to develop as we go through the afternoon and on into the evening. So lots of lightning strikes. We're looking at some heavy rain and some very intense little areas of hail that have also been popping up. We're not seeing it as widespread as it was yesterday around Modesto, but still this particular cell here, look at that, the early frames. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and you can see that right in there as it was going over Highway 99. This was about 2:13 p.m. That was some pretty intense hail that was there between Highway 99 and working its way just to the west of Escalon. So that was a big concern, and I'm sure that's why they issued that severe thunderstorm warning. But as we put this into motion, that particular cell is starting to weaken some, and this is going to be heading up. It's now getting past Linden and moving on towards Rancho Calaveras. So there's numerous cells that are out here, and we're seeing more develop in Merced County. But again, the area that we're really going to be watching here is the one that's now moving north out of Stanislaus County, across San Joaquin County, and even in the Delta region, where I wouldn't be surprised if this particular cell continues to develop. You can see that hail is really starting to blossom just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here so I can query this and see what's going on. We got the shear off. I'm going to see what the size hail is with this. And there we have, again, this is where we're seeing a little bit larger hail, almost 3/4 of an inch in diameter expected in that region. So that's getting closer to that quarter size, that quarter coin size hail. And so that's what we look for, is once it gets up to about quarter size. And quarter size is about an inch in diameter. So that's what we're looking for the issuance of a severe thunderstorm warning, because when you get hail, that's big. That's a big chunk of ice that's falling out of the cloud, and that can do some damage. And so what we would like you to do is, if you're in these areas where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings, just make sure that you get your cars covered, you get inside yourself so you can be protected for it. We don't want those size of hailstones falling on top of you, so make sure you get indoors and just shelter there until the storm passes. These are moving along pretty quickly, and so you see the cycle, or the life cycle, of these thunderstorms in this kind of situation could last maybe a half an hour or so. So they'll reach their peak and then start to dissipate. And so we are looking at more developing, but right now we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are out there. So let's go ahead and go back. And again, both of these are until about 3:15 is what it was. So you can see this one in Stanislaus County, until 3:15, and the other one that reaches into San Joaquin County also is up until about 3:15 right now. And so we're currently at 2:53, so we're just going to watch these as they continue to chug along, moving north. And you can see where we have, I'm going to take that off, more that's popping up here in Merced County. So that just shows you that we have this line of instability as this area of low pressure that's currently centered off the coast of California is swinging through. And this is bringing some of the more unstable air into the area. In fact, let's go ahead and get this swinging around. And you can kind of see the rotation of this as we go along. You see we have these showers moving this direction, and then they start moving this direction, and then farther north they're moving off in that direction. So the center of low pressure is just right off the coast here of Sonoma County. Right there is where the center of this is, and this is going to continue to drive these thunderstorms across the valley and then ramping up into the foothills. So we should start seeing some of this in the upper elevations also play out with some more thunderstorms in those regions. In fact, let's go ahead and take a closer look. I'm seeing a cell right up in here in Calaveras County, just to the north of Arnold, where we have some pretty heavy rain coming down. So there's West Point. So this is going to be near Pioneer on Highway 88. There's some pretty heavy rain that's developing in this area. Don't see any hail associated with it. And let's see if there's any lightning. Oh yeah, lots of lightning strikes associated with it, but we do not have the hail. And so it's more than likely not going to be severe as what we're seeing in the valley. And that's what we're seeing right now. In fact, let's go ahead and move in. Right there with another severe thunderstorm warning that just popped up. Let me go ahead and click on it here. And this is going to be up until, well, this is a 3:15, but what I'm looking at here is I wanted to dissect it and do a little cross to show. I'm going to stop it and pause it to where we are now and take a look at cross-section. I'm just curious about this particular cell here and just how deep it is. And so what we're looking at here is it's convection. So how deep this is running is how much energy is involved in it. So the higher the altitude that we're looking at here, or the deeper that this runs, the stronger the storm is. And so you can see currently, look at the properties. I'm going to tilt it down a little bit more so we get a better angle here. So over 30,000 feet. So the storm I saw earlier that Heather was pointing out was closer to 40,000 feet. So that was a much deeper storm, a lot more energy associated with it. So this one, while it is a severe thunderstorm, there is some hail associated with it. It's not going to be, the hail is not going to be quite as big as what we saw with the previous thunderstorm that was going through that eventually spawned the tornado warning.
And Dirk, if I can jump in, let's take a look at the velocity. That's what I was showing you earlier, and that's what you're going to see behind me here on the screen once the director puts us on. So remember, velocity mode, what we're looking at here, not where it's raining, not where we're seeing hail, but what direction is that rain and that hail falling in. Where you see areas of red, that's going to be air moving away from the radar. Where you see these areas of kind of pale green, that's where you may have some air moving towards the radar. Now, we want to say there is no tornado warning with this storm, but radar may be indicating at least what we would call some broad rotation higher up within the storm. And again, this is the cell that's moving just to the north and east of Waterford. That severe thunderstorm warning goes for another 17 minutes. So we'll see what happens with that. But Dirk, you were mentioning the hail not as intense with this storm, but there may still be some rotation within this cell, and we can switch modes here and go back to kind of what Dirk was showing. This is kind of a coarser version of the radar. It's a little bit more fine detail, but you can see there that hail core just to the north and east of Waterford. That's where we may be seeing some of that hail, potentially over 1/4 of an inch in diameter.
No, one thing that's interesting here, Heather, is that we have the hail that's associated with it. And I haven't seen a lot of this with the storms that we had yesterday and the day before that, is we haven't had the shear. Again, that's showing that rotation that you're talking about. And then this is indicating a little bit of shear. As you can see, we have that. I'm going to go ahead and take the hail off. I'm going to get those lightning bolts out of the way, and you can see that area of darker blue. That's indicating where we do have a little bit of rotation associated with this thunderstorm as it goes up. And that's what, again, the Weather Service is looking at before they issue a tornado warning, is how much of that is going on. And I can go ahead and just do a little query here and it'll show up. So we've got shear of about 20 miles per hour. So it's been all, that's actually some of the greater amounts of shear that I've seen so far today is 20 miles per hour. And so far, every time that I've been looking at, it's been 10, 12 miles per hour or less. And so that's showing that we do have a little bit more energy, and that air is not only moving up, but it's also got a little bit of rotation associated with it.
Yeah, and then the higher resolution version of the radar that I'm looking at over here, where we were just looking at the velocity mode, it's showing the same thing, right? So we're both looking at the same radar data, just different computer systems, different ways of interpreting that data. Shear, rotation, it's all different ways of saying a very similar thing. So you can see here, same cell that Dirk was just looking at. Farmington is right over here. So it's Highway 120. There's that area of brighter green and a little bit of red. Okay, it's not an overwhelming signature of rotation, but if you're maybe in Farmington or just off to the south and looking up towards the storm itself, if you're in a dry area, if you were to take a time lapse, you may be able to see a little bit of that rotation within there. Again, it's what we would call broad rotation at this point. It's not enough for the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning. But when we say radar indicated tornado, these are the tools that the forecasters at the National Weather Service would be looking at. So this is the area that we're focusing on. This is to the east of the community of Farmington. And again, Rancho Calaveras not included within that severe thunderstorm warning. That's that thin yellow line there. But that's a cell that'll be worth watching here, and we'll see how well it holds together.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this here, and again, we just have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are still up, and they're both up until 3:15. And so right now we're seeing things kind of hold steady. There's still some very strong storms that are out there, but I don't see too much more development other than the one that's out by Rio Vista. That's still looking pretty strong out in the Delta right now.
Yeah, I'm just poking around at some of the cameras that we typically use for fire coverage. I mean, they're great for storm spotting as well.
Let's go in. I'm going to zoom into that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They would issue a severe thunderstorm warning with this. You got a hail signature there that currently is looking
that's huge
really good. So I'm going to go ahead and query that, and you can see that it's radar is indicating hail sizes over an inch, almost an inch and a quarter. So that's some very large hail. That's some damaging hail, potential for damaging hail near Rio Vista right now. And right now it looks like it's over the orchards that are out there in Rio Vista. I mean, there may be some farm homes that are also out there, but it looks like it's still south of Rio Vista proper, where the larger community is. So there we go. So now they just issued it a severe thunderstorm warning for that particular cell.
Okay.
We watched that develop, and yeah, that was an area of concern, and so they did issue that severe thunderstorm warning, and this is up until 3:30. And so you can see the nature of these. Here it is. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they issue this for about a half an hour. Of course, if they need to, they will extend it. But it just shows you that the life cycle of these thunderstorms are about a half hour.
Yeah.
You see them blowing up, they peak, and then they start tapering off. This one, I think, is at its peak right now with the very strong hail signature associated with it.
Yeah, and I've just found one of the Alert California cameras near Walnut Grove. So it's not, in the immediate area of the storm, but if we want to take this back on camera, we can just show you how things have evolved. And Dirk was talking about it, how you go from, relatively fair conditions, and then boom, all of a sudden the thunderstorm moves in, and you can even kind of see some of the circulation of the atmosphere. Dirk was pointing that out. We're not talking about rotation within the storm, but just the way the clouds are moving, right, from the south in some areas, from the southeast in other areas, as that area of low pressure just gets a little bit closer. So again, this is just over the last 30 minutes in Walnut Grove, looking out over the Delta, those scattered showers and thunderstorms, some seeing some sunshine, some seeing some heavy downpours, and of course Dirk has been looking at what could be some pretty intense hail down in the Delta with this storm that was just put under a severe thunderstorm warning. So I'm calling up radar back on my end. Just take a peek. Yeah, wow.
That's a good cell.
There it is. That is just to the south. So this is Highway 12 right here, Rio Vista. This is Highway 160 if you're familiar with the area. If you're in Ileton, the storm is pretty much right on top of you at this point, but that hail, let's just see what our radar is showing.
Almost an inch and a half I've got.
Yeah, almost an inch and a half. So that would be, we were talking this morning about the possibility of ping pong ball-sized hail. That's what an inch and a half is. So a quarter, your pocket change, that's about an inch in diameter. And this is the kind of hail that, number one, it's noisy. Number two, it's going to do some damage. So, if you're in Ileton, I don't necessarily recommend you go outside right now, but if you got something in your yard that you are particularly concerned about with hail damage, bring it in. If you've got an awning that's extended, it's probably a little windy right now. If you want to do your best to try and bring that in, now's a good time to do that.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on, and then also some other areas that have some pretty heavy rain right now. But starting in Stanislaus County, if we go down here, you can see again just to the north of Highway 132. This is where there is one particular severe thunderstorm warning that's up until 3:15. You can see it has a very small hail signature right now, some very heavy rain, and that was something that I noticed last night when we had thunderstorms coming down the valley. The drops were huge.
Yeah.
So that was an indicator. Yeah, there was some hail. That's the only way that you can get raindrops that big is if you have some either ice or snow that's melting that creates those bigger drops. In this case, it would have been hail, and coming down, and they really made a plop when they hit the ground. So there was no ice in them, but there were just big drops of water. And so that's what we're going to see here is that we're getting the hail starting to decrease, and then just some heavy rain in this area of Stanislaus County, also along Highway 108 near Oakdale. This is all moving north, so it's moving away from Oakdale, but you just had some heavier rain move through, and then there's still some hail in the center of this particular thunderstorm that is under a severe thunderstorm warning, and it's just to the east. Again, the core of this where we have the hail is just to the east of Farmington along Highway 4, so this is going to be passing right over Highway 4 where we still have some hail, but as far as the size of the hail, let's go ahead and see if we can get the indication from the radar showing that it's about 1/3 of an inch in in diameter. That's the size. And how it's able to figure that out is it looks at the reflectivity. The ice that forms, the hail that forms in a cloud, it gets covered with liquid, and it just makes it so much easier. It's just a bigger reflection. So that's how a radar works. The radar sends out a signal, it hits the raindrops, and that gets reflected back to the radar, and it can indicate how much is being reflected back, and it can then decide how large those drops are. And so in this case, with the hailstone, it's going to bring back a really big reflection, and so that's it's indicating that about 1/3 of an inch in diameter size with this particular little spot of hail that's showing up with this thunderstorm. As I back out, we can go to our third system. So it looks like the one to the south is there, the one near Ileton and Rio Vista, and again that's moving north. And I'm going to go ahead and put this into time-lapse mode really quick, and this just shows you the last hour, and you can see the development of this and just how quick it explodes as it makes its way past Brentwood and moves on towards Rio Vista. And as quickly as it develops, then it will start to taper off. And so we'll see that it's still in a very dangerous mode right now, but over the next half hour that will continue to weaken. Then another area will start to pop up, and you can see that are surrounding it. You have these little hot spots that continue to pop up. And then in through the mountains, we're seeing, again, just a lot of rain, a lot of lightning. I can put that on. You can see all the lightning strikes associated with the heavier rain that's making its way up with these thunderstorms that are riding along the west slope of the Sierra. And then it just kind of weakens, and you can see it spreads out to more widespread, more light to moderate rainfall out there. But again, our main area of concern is back here in the valley. And the latest severe thunderstorm warning that was issued was this one here in the Delta near Rio Vista. And we're seeing numerous lightning strikes. If you're in this area, this is something I noticed last night with the thunderstorms that came through. There was no break. It's not like one lightning strike and then you wait a while and another one. These are just coming one after the other. And as I stop this and put it to now, we can actually take a look. Over the last 15 minutes, we've had 16 lightning strikes associated with this particular thunderstorm.
And that's in a really tight area, square mileage-wise, too.
Yeah, they're just all on top of each other. Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on there near Rio Vista right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that same storm, but kind of taking that 3D view, and I know Dirk has done this a few times. This is just another tool that meteorologists, especially at the National Weather Service, are going to analyze when they determine the potential for some of this large hail. They look at how high the updraft is going. So updraft, air moving upwards. As the air moves up, it moves up into colder air. Water droplets, they freeze. The longer they stay in that cold air, the longer they're able to stay lifted, the larger those hailstones can be. So when you see a setup like this with that updraft going all the way up, this is 30,000 feet right here. That's up where your commercial airliner is going to be flying. So it's way high up there. That's how we're getting some of these huge hailstones. But notice it's also over a relatively small area space-wise. That's something we've been pointing out. I mean, even with the storm yesterday that just happened to pass right over Modesto, square mileage-wise, it wasn't covering a large area. These are very isolated pockets of really intense weather, but these thunderstorms, really towering. And of course, as the air gets colder, from high to low, that's where we're seeing the potential for some of this hail to grow as well. So we have just the right conditions, just that little bit of shear, which actually helps the hail stay up in the updraft a little bit longer rather than just falling straight back down. So we pointed out that little bit of rotation on some of these storms, not enough to produce any, at least that we've heard of, funnel clouds or tornadoes at this point, but enough to kind of push the updraft, keep those hailstones up a bit longer. And at least for 15 to 30 minutes at a time, we're seeing some of these pockets of some of that much larger hail to go along with it.
Yeah, one of the things that we haven't talked about and that hasn't really been mentioned too much in the severe thunderstorm warnings is the winds. Mm-hmm. When you have a column of ice that's up there, you have all those hailstones that are up there and they're dropping down. What happens, think of it just like a whole rush of cars that are driving right by you. They're going to create some wind. And so you can have a column of hail falling down out of a thunderstorm, and that can create some pretty strong gusty winds. Now, I'm not expecting a lot of gusty winds associated with this, but there is the potential for some pretty good gusts, especially under a thunderstorm like this one that's out near Rio Vista. And this is coming right over Rio Vista proper. Look at all those lightning strikes, and I'm going to go ahead and take those off, and you can see that that column of hail is moving right towards Rio Vista. So it's right now the leading edge is making its way over the Sacramento River and heading right towards Highway 12, right near the Rio Vista Bridge. It's right over top of Rio Vista right now, as you're noticing that. So if you're in the Rio Vista Vista area and you are watching us, you are hearing also lots of hail hitting your area as we have that column of hail. Now, luckily, it looks like the hail size has decreased. So as we look at the query tool again, we can see it's down. So it was over an inch and almost an inch and a quarter. Now it's down to almost 3/4 of an inch. So still, that's going to possibly do some damage at that size. It's going to make a lot of noise. It's going to be noticeable. And the other thing, too, for people that are driving, when you get into a situation where you've got hailstones that are getting close to an inch or over an inch, those are like ball bearings that are on the roadway. So you can start sliding around on the roads. And so that's why you want to, especially in a situation with a really large hail is coming down, it's covering the roadways, pull over. Yeah. Get off to the side of the road.
Especially up on some of those levee roads where you don't have a lot of room for error to begin with. And the community of Rio Vista, there's plenty of roads out there like this. By the way, these storms are moving through some highly populated areas. We would be on doing extended coverage wherever these storms would be. But if you are able to safely do so, get photos, video, there's a couple different ways you can get them to us. You can go to kcra.com/upload. There's a form there that you can fill out. Give us permission to use your photos and videos. We'll use them on air. You can send them to news@kcra.com. And better yet, if you download the free KCRA app, number one, you're going to be able to take radar with you wherever you go. When we get these new warnings, our digital team in the background, they're going to be sending out alerts to your phone so that you know that that warning is there. You know that we're going to be on TV, and you can stream us live on the app as well. And there's going to be a section within that app. So right from your phone, you take a photo, you take a video. There's somewhere that you can go to upload your content directly to us as well. And those kinds of photos and videos, we call it ground truth, right, as meteorologists. It helps us tell the story. Yesterday, Dirk and I were looking at that storm in Modesto. Our radar was showing the potential for hail up to an inch, and we were thinking, wow, really? But then we saw the photos and the video that confirmed it. So that just helps us, understand what's going on. It gives us more data to work with. So your photos and video really do help us, the entire KCRA team, tell the story as well. And actually, we do have a photo right now. Let's go to it. This is from Ripon. Just hold on here, it's really cool looking. So it's not from, underneath the storm directly, but it is kind of looking off. You can see just how dark the skies are. Do we know who that photo was from? We know it was from the Ripon area. Sorry, you're just going to hear me talking to our producer, Erica.
Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, yeah, those are about an inch in diameter. Those are some big hailstones. Yeah,
and this is from Bob and Libby. So the one on the left is from Bob, the one on the right is from Libby. Libby, I love that you included a ruler with the hailstones. That is the most helpful in determining hail size. But yeah, 3/4 of an inch to an inch in diameter. So Ripon, that was one of the first cells that we were tracking this afternoon.
Yeah, so now we're down to two severe thunderstorm warnings. The one that's in Stanislaus County and eastern San Joaquin County. This one that's just outside of Farmington. That one's up until 3:15, so that's got a couple of more minutes, and it looks like it's dying down enough. Looks like the hail's pretty much gone with that I'm sure will be allowed to expire. And then the one that's over Rio Vista, this one also is starting to decrease in intensity, but it's still got some good amounts of hail associated with it right there in the Rio Vista area. So I would imagine that, yeah, that eventually is going to be dropped, but it's going until about 3:30 is when it's expected to expire.
Another thing we want to point out, I mean, we've been hyper zoomed in on radar as we should, because that's where these storms are very isolated, but look at the direction that the storm is headed. I know that this map is kind of cluttered, but downtown Sacramento's right here. There's your thunderstorm in Rio Vista. So if this is able to hold together, this will be coming up right near Sacramento in the next, 30, 45 minutes or so. West Sacramento, Davis, heads up for you. It's going to stay just to the west of Elk Grove. Yeah, these storms, we've been talking about how they intensify for a little bit, then they back off a little bit, then they re-intensify. But this is headed for the central part of Sacramento County, so we'll be keeping an eye on that too. Not just where the storms are right now, but where they may be headed. So heads up if you've got, dinner plans, school pickup, after school activities. Driving around Sacramento may get a little interesting here within the next hour or so.
Yeah, another thing that you'll notice is the location that these have been taking place. So we had our severe thunderstorm warnings in Stanislaus County, and then Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County, and then now it's over on the east-western portions of San Joaquin County and into the Delta region. We're seeing that now in Solano County, and so we're seeing this kind of move across the valley, and that's what happens with these. You get this energy that develops. It starts in one spot, and then it just kind of rolls along, and we're seeing this now roll across the valley. And one of the more interesting areas now that I'm noticing is in Napa County. Look at this little cell here. So as we zoom in, you can see that it's near Yountville, but not so much. They're just a little bit to the west of Yountville and just to the south of Lake Berryessa. So that goes in line with these thunderstorms and where they've been kind of developing as they spread north. They're also spreading off more towards the west as well. So again, a lot of activity right now. The strongest storm is still the one that's near Rio Vista. We still have some hail signature there right over Highway 12, right near, again, the Rio Vista Bridge and on into Rio Vista in the downtown area of Rio Vista. So also along Highway 120, you're looking at some very heavy rain, but it looks like the heaviest hail has already moved on, so that's already starting to decrease, but still a lot of water coming down. And that's another thing I can do that right now is I'm going to go ahead and click on the observed precipitation, and this can give us amounts of rain that we've seen in some of these areas. So you have near Turlock and Hickman. I'm going to look at this one here that was along Highway 4 because that looks like a pretty good amount of water that had been coming down, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at, so that's an inch of water within the time frame of that thunderstorm that's gone through Farmington. It dropped an inch of water, so that's a lot of water coming down in a brief period of time. I'm going to go ahead and back up and let's go over here. And near Rio Vista, this also looks like it's been, and again, this is all radar indicated. This is not measured by any rain bucket or anything like that. This is just the radar indicating that there's the potential that it could have had that much water. So let's take a look near Isleton.
Some of this may be contaminated by hail a little bit too. Just want to throw in a quick update. So that severe thunderstorm warning in San Joaquin County, that was allowed to expire. So we now just have this warning that's active through the Delta. That has now been extended until 3:30. So about another 14 minutes. So Dirk is calling up sort of the immediate rain totals, the radar analysis. This is what's actually been measured over the last 24 hours in some of the buckets all over Northern California. So Grass Valley, most of that came down for you late last evening. We had some really noisy thunderstorms going through about 10, 11 o'clock last night. Close to 2 inches of rain in the last 24 hours there. Blue Canyon, showers and thunderstorms, again, most of that last night. Close to 7/10 of an inch of rain. So we're not seeing much being picked up in the valley just yet, but keep in mind, these are very specific locations. This is where the bucket is. Dirk is looking at radar analysis, so it's kind of interpolating in between. But you get the idea that, you know, areas that see these thunderstorms, you're getting a lot of rain really quickly. If you don't see the thunderstorms, well, you're not getting much of anything at this point. But it's going to continue to be a very active afternoon.
Yeah, so we have, again, that thunderstorm that's near Rio Vista. It's also affecting near Walnut Grove has been seeing some of that heavier rainfall, and this is holding together pretty good. You can see it's kind of stretching out, like the one particular thunderstorm that made its way from near Escalon towards Farmington. That's now starting to taper off. It just kind of stretched itself out, so it was a little bit more, isolated and condensed, and then it just kind of stretched itself out. So we're seeing that taking place right now with this particular thunderstorm that is under the severe thunderstorm warning near Rio Vista, which includes southern Sacramento County as well as Solano County, and just a little bit. Looks like it just barely makes its way into San Joaquin County as well, but this is moving north, and so areas like Clarksburg, that's a spot that could get some of this heavier rain. I think the likelihood of hail is decreasing as the hail signature looks like it's going away with the radar, but still intense and heavy rain could work its way towards, again, the Clarksburg area, also even into the west side of Elk Grove, the Laguna West area. Could get some of that heavier rain within the next, I'd say, 10 to 20 minutes, working its way through that region. We're seeing also the pockets of rain, heavier rain between Galt and Thornton, between I-5 and Highway 99. Also here moving its way north towards Elk Grove. As far as lightning goes, I'm going to turn on the lightning, and it's all there to this particular thunderstorm that's near Rio Vista, and that's what we're still seeing. We've had a lot of lightning near Rio Vista here with this particular thunderstorm that seems to like it right over the Rio Vista Bridge right now. So we can see there's another little pocket that's kind of developing here. And this is a good indicator. When you look at the lightning strikes, what you're seeing is that there's a generator going on that's generating that electricity. So that means a pretty strong updraft. And when you have a strong updraft, that's going to create the heavier rain. That's going to create the potential for hail. So all those are indicators. So these are signs that you look for. So if you have an area where there's lots of lightning strikes, it's because you have a pretty good updraft that's going on, and you're going to be seeing the results of that with the corresponding heavy rain and the possibility for some hail.
Okay, our producer Erica is telling us we've got the Rio Vista Bridge camera queued up. Let's see if we can take a look at that. So that's right where the most intense part of the storm is, or at least it's passed by. Okay, so you can see the dark skies.
Yeah, it's looking dark.
We're looking eastbound, so yeah, the storm has moved off to the north of the Rio Vista Bridge at this point. But if you come back to me here, let's see. Okay, so there's Rio Vista. Most of the lightning now moving, I mean, just barely off to the north. Even if it has stopped raining where you are in Rio Vista, there's still lightning that's awfully darn close. You still want to be staying inside. Walnut Grove is over here, and we've got one of the Alert California cameras that kind of keeps an eye on that spot. So it's not right under the storm, but I just want to show you a time lapse just over the last 15 minutes or so. So you can see the curtains of rain. There's likely some large hail mixed in there as well. And you just see how angry those clouds look, just the kind of the shape of them. And let's see if we can actually take this out a little bit longer. We weren't seeing any rotation within that storm itself, but just cool to see how things kind of evolve. You got a lot of moisture close to the ground, so you can see kind of the scraggly pieces of the cloud hanging down. A little bit of that, we call it outflow. Dirk was mentioning, you know, when you get these big columns of falling hail, well, that's going to drag air down with it. It's going to drag cold air down with it. So if you've ever been, you know, having a thunderstorm approach you, get that sudden gust of wind. Well, that's that air moving down from the storm and then getting pushed out. We call that a gust front. So that may be the extent of the wind that these storms are producing. But when you got air forcefully being moved down by either heavy rain or hail, that's where you can get into some of those gust front conditions. And that may be a little bit of what we're seeing here. The clouds kind of getting pushed outward a little bit as the storm moves through. So again, we're looking at Walnut Grove, not taking a direct hit from the thunderstorms we've been watching. But this thing's starting to clear away from Rio Vista, and we're starting to get some imagery. Again, we were just looking at the Rio Vista Bridge. Let's go back to that real quick so you can see traffic's moving along just fine. The river's running nice and high at this point. You can even see some blue sky there off in the distance. And of course, the blue sky, if we get blue sky in between the storms, well, that's more energy for more storms.
Yeah, they can keep on cycling through as long as they keep on having the energy. And that was something that, you know, kept going. It was interesting last night where we had all those thunderstorms that continued to move along. As they moved north, we continued to have all that lightning, and it's just kind of built upon itself because we had all that energy out in front with that warmer air that continued to feed into these storms, creating more thunderstorms that popped up. And so lots of lightning, a lot of movement, a lot of vertical motion with these storms. And we're seeing that again today with this area that goes, it stretches. You can see just kind of a line right along through here. You've got those thunderstorms, just an area that behind it, you can see there's not, because all that energy has been used up. And so I'm going to use this as an indicator so you can see where you have, where's my pointer? Yeah, that's, nope. All right, so we have, there we go. You got this particular thunderstorm here. That one was under a severe thunderstorm warning. It has since dropped off. Now you have this one that's here that's moving into Calaveras County. That was a very strong thunderstorm. There was not only the severe thunderstorm warning, but also a tornado warning. And then we have this particular storm that still is under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's near Rio Vista. That's moving north. But all three of these are still holding together pretty good. Again, they've passed their prime, but they still can be dangerous with the lightning that's going on with them, as well as the heavy downpours. A lot of water's coming out of these particular thunderstorms. And so just be advised that there's a lot of this going on. And it's not just in the valley. We have spots up here in the foothills and on into the Sierra. As we get into higher elevations, around 4,000 feet, you have Arnold that has a thunderstorm with numerous lightning strikes associated with it and some heavy rain. There's no hail, but we have the heavier rain. Upper elevations also in through Tuolumne County, seeing a number of lightning strikes. Again, nothing nothing as intense as what we're seeing in the valley, but still some showers going up the road, just up the road from Pollock Pines. We're seeing some thunderstorms across Highway 50. And as we move over towards I-80, Auburn getting some more light to moderate rain, not nearly as heavy. And you can see there's not as much energy here. We do have some heavier rain near Donner Summit, but Truckee getting some more moderate rain, and into the Lake Tahoe area where we're seeing the rain currently. But the big concern right now is really in the valley, where we've seen some of that energy. In fact, with the sun that has broke out in some areas, helping to fuel some of these thunderstorms that have been popping up. And this line that's been developing here from Merced County up in through Stanislaus County, now Tuolumne County, Calaveras County, and into the Delta region. It's really interesting. You see we have those line of thunderstorms, and there's rain out in front of them, but then things clear out behind. And so we should see some clearing, maybe get a little bit of sun that could spawn some more thunderstorms.
Well, look at the view of Stockton here right behind me.
Yeah, that's behind a thunderstorm.
The sun is shining bright. You're looking a little bit far. I think we're looking off to the, what would that be, the east. So everything kind of heading this way. And yeah, seeing some clearing there. But remember, we've been talking about these thunderstorms approaching Sacramento. So here's one of our cameras in Midtown looking towards the south. Yeah, you're not seeing all that much because that thunderstorm is getting a little bit closer. There's our Stockton camera again. And this is our downtown camera. So this is on top of our TV tower here. We're on the north end of Midtown, starting to get some raindrops there. We're looking to the south towards that cell that Dirk and I have been tracking for the last, 20 minutes or so. That was producing that huge hail in Rio Vista maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. We are not seeing that hail signature at this point. But if you are in Sacramento and you are watching, could be some heavy rain, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning coming our way. And of course, it's just about 3:30 in the afternoon. School pickup, after school activities, people getting ready for dinner. This is going to inconvenience you for just a little bit. Let's go back. We'll pull up radar so I can show you what's coming.
So yeah, I've got it over here. We've got the rain that's making its way now towards Clarksburg. So you can see it stretches from Rio Vista, where you're still getting some rain, all the way up towards Clarksburg. And so that's just to the south of Sacramento. So that's going to be heading towards the downtown area. But good news, it almost looks like it's kind of stretching itself out, kind of getting a little bit thinner and a little bit weaker in that area. But that doesn't mean it's going to be down. So we're looking at some heavy rain still associated with that. You have some more little cells that have popped up near Galt and just to the north of Lodi. So those are relatively new, and they seem to be getting a little bit bigger. But the biggest one now we're seeing is still this one that's now moving north of Farmington towards Rancho Calaveras. We're getting a number of lightning strikes with it and some heavy rain. There's no hail being indicated at this point, but there is some heavier rain. And then this particular cell, these have been some really long lasting, even though they're moving along and weakening, but they still have a lot of energy with them. This one is in Tuolumne County, and you can see it's moving towards Chinese Camp. And that's eventually going to work its way towards Jamestown and Sonora. So you are going to see some of this heavier rain, but hopefully it'll weaken. But you still see lots of lightning strikes. In fact, I'm going to zoom in. You can see I have these little place names: Keystone, Hetchy Junction, where we have some of that heavier rain along Highway 108, moving from Knights Ferry towards Keystone is where we have some of the heavier rain. Yosemite Junction, that rain starting to pick up in your area. And again, we're seeing that light rain just outside of Jamestown, and the heavier rain to follow. But there's still some thunderstorm activity all the way down to Merced County. You can see that stretches across the area, with only one severe thunderstorm warning that's still up for the Rio Vista area.
And of course, we've been talking about thunderstorms all afternoon, but I just pulled up the Donner Summit camera just for fun. It is snowing at Donner Summit. We're not seeing enough snow to see any issues here, but yeah, the ground is now coated. That looked completely different at this time yesterday. We're going to get more into the snow, especially this weekend. We may see some chain controls at times tomorrow. Definitely going to get him Saturday night into Sunday. But Brandy Cummings is now in studio with us. Brandy, I understand we got some viewer photos and video that are coming in. What do you have?
Yeah, Heather, thank you. Our viewers are sharing a lot of what they're seeing. So this is some video coming in now of the heavy downpour from our viewer, Kimberly Wright. And you can see what she captured here. Looks like her porch there, her backyard, definitely some rain coming down. This is in Ripon that she shared this video. Viewers are also sending in video showing us just how large this hail is. And of course, earlier, Heather, I know you mentioned that one of our viewers sent in a picture showing the ruler, which is of course helpful, as is when they kind of compare this hail to other things. So this hail being compared to a quarter, Diane sent us this video also, or this picture also from Ripon, and the hail that they're seeing there is larger than a quarter, some of it there. And also this is another picture that was sent in to us. This is from Douglas Vitrano. This photo also coming from Ripon, and again, you can just see how big, I'm sorry, this is from Rio Vista. But you can see just how big those hailstones are in his hand. And of course, we do know that depending on the size of these, they can cause some serious damage to vehicles and things that are outside. And I know you guys have been warning viewers to, if you've been watching and have been watching radar, you know the path of the storm and where it's headed. So if you have the opportunity, make sure you're taking things indoors or strapping things down so you can make sure that, you know, the things that are outside your home don't kind of come projectiles and start to spread around, you know, in your neighborhood, in your yard, and to your neighbor's yard. Again, I know that this has been an active afternoon for sure, and our meteorologists have been covering it for at least an hour now, a little over an hour now, making sure that we're all continuing to stay informed on where the storm is headed and where it is now. We do have crews as well that are headed out to cover the storm from the ground as well, so we'll be checking in with them a little later this afternoon. For now, I want to send things back over to meteorologist Heather Waldman.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandy. And we just want to reemphasize that your photos, your videos, when taken safely and you know, shared responsibly with permission to us, these really help us to tell the story. They confirm what we're seeing here on radar and what we're telling people now. Positive update here, we currently do not have any active severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings. Not to say we're done for the evening, but at this point we are going to take a little bit of a break. Remember, you can download the free KCRA app. You can track the radar behind me on your phone wherever you're going. You'll also get push alerts if and when new warnings are issued. We're going to be on at 4 o'clock with the latest updates, and of course we're going to take it from there. Myself, my teammate Dirk Verdoorn, the rest of the KCRA team are going to be bringing you the latest as we continue to track these thunderstorms on this weather alert day. A lot more to talk about through this weekend. We'll see you on the KCRA 3 News at 4.